I think we're gonna start. Thank you guys for coming to this super exciting panel where we are going to talk about a market that I think is the most exciting in Europe and one of the biggest as well in size and in its value as well, and also in the level of enjoyment playing there. And this is not another country, it's called France. We have some amazing French professionals and friends here and also in the audience. And yeah, my name is Dénes and I'm one of the founders of Bush. This is the 10th Budapest Showcase Hub, and after 10 years it's finally time to talk about France as well. We never had a French panel. The guys who are sitting next to me is Daniel Chamorro from Giant Steps, Sébastien Doviane from TSF Jazz Radio and Duc de Lombard Jazz Club, and JC Medina from 3C, Jean-Charles.
Hello.
Can I call you JC?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And Suzanne on Saturday night.
Suzanne on Saturday. Yeah, of course.
The first Saturday.
Well, you guys are all booking in a way because Sébastien, you're booking to one venue. JC and Daniel are booking agents for the territory. Are you only booking for France?
No. We book in the whole Europe, I would say, and basically more than half of the artists that we book are actually out of France.
Okay, more than half.
Yes.
Are out of France. Please, could you tell us a little bit about Giant Steps, the company itself, and also how did you get there?
So Giant Steps is a company that was created by Pascal Pilorget 20 years ago, which were more focused on the new generation of jazz and beyond artists. And within the last 10 years, he created a very strong roster that is mainly the new jazz, UK jazz, or the old crossover jazz, such as Tigran Amassian, Louis Cole, Nowhere, and so on. And there is a rise of new jazz artists for the last 5 years in France, which are really exciting. And so we started to become more and more focused with French artists as well, and still signing other artists, and a bit outside of jazz now. That goes a bit with the new wave of soul music, R&B, and that's for Giant Steps. And I joined 2 years ago, after over 15 years being a booking agent for punk rock, pop, more into mainstream genres. And I joined Giant Steps because I thought it was a very good idea to propose my knowledge of pop within the jazz, because I think nowadays it's not really relevant to separate the networks of booking, and that's it.
So you came from the punk all the way to new jazz.
Exactly, which I think got some similarities.
Jean-Charles, you are more into punk, aren't you? Are you gonna go start working with jazz now then?
I'm an open-minded guy, so of course I can, definitely. But yeah, this is exactly what you said. So I work with a company called 3C. So the boss is Christophe Bosch. He's running the company for 30 years now and still independent, which is very important to underline this. And I come from the DIY scene, so basically I've started to promote a lot of bands in my hometown in Bordeaux, in the southwest of France. And bands from post-rock, math rock, screamo, post-hardcore, ambient and shoegaze bands. This is where I come from, actually. And then, I grew up a little bit, and I'm still into the guitars, and also very involved about niche kind of music. Could be a bit of electronic, R&B, beatcore. Could be like a noise also. So this is what I do.
This is your roots as well. So you started to book bands that you liked, or you booked the bands that you were in. How does one become a booking agent in Bordeaux?
Well, the funny thing is because when I started to promote bands in Bordeaux, I was completely hooked by some bands from Germany, for example, or from London, or even from Italy. So I started to read them on Facebook, because before it was Facebook. Don't forget it. And I was completely in to play in Bordeaux. So the deal was to help them to book, a tiny tour from London to Bordeaux, for example, or Berlin to Bordeaux, for example. So I helped them to book, and step by step, I met some people. And I met someone called Jimmy and Guillaume, and they are my colleague now. And so I started completely in a DIY way.
Just a secret, JC is from 3C is not alone, because there's another person from your company at Bush and in this audience, Guillaume Bureau, also from 3C, but we couldn't have everyone on this stage now. And there is one more connection towards Guillaume, because he's the agent of one of the bands that I'm working with called Jazz Boys. That's how we met in Korea. And I also met you first time in Korea, I think. But
2 years ago.
That brings me to the next one. Sorry, just one more second. Back to JC, is that you are one of the agents that I basically see in every single showcase that I go to. So are you attending all of them?
I don't really know. It's a very funny story, because actually, I met some people who introduced me to some people, and after talking, especially about music, having good vibes, spreading good ideas and advices, and taking time to talk about what's going on in the French market, and also taking so many times to talk to some newcomers, how it works in Europe, how it works in France, for example. But mostly talking about music, record label, where we come from. So I met some really nice people, and then I understood how it works, the Showcases Festival, and then some of them invited me. So I understood how it worked, and then I was working with so many bands, and I started to apply in some Showcases Festival, and then they play in this Showcases Festival. So and you met again some people, and this is a rotation all the time. It's just, I don't know.
Can I ask how many artists, ballpark, do you guys represent at 3C?
Too much. No, just kidding.
That's usually the case.
I think I work with 12 or 13 French acts, and between 8 and 10 international acts.
And that would be average, because for a French agency, that the majority of the artists are French. That's a question, sorry.
It depends on the company you work with.
Okay.
So, but in 3C, I think mostly it's 70% of the French acts and 30% of the international acts, or maybe 60-40. So it depends. Yeah.
Does 3C book outside of France?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends on the band. But mostly we do prefer working with sub-agents.
But you book full European tours for the bands that you represent?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so you work with agents, but you oversee the operation of European tour for a band that you represent.
It's because actually I do believe sub-agents are way more better than me, and they have their own connection, and also something could be really wise to work with some sub-agent also, because they can have really nice connection, and, if they are looking for an agent in French, for example, with the article I do love, for example, so we can have a deal. So I do prefer.
Of course, everyone knows their own market, so it's good to have a local person.
Yes.
Seb.
Yes.
Would you please tell us where you come from? Are you coming from the music background, or how did you end up? And what was first, Duke or TSF Jazz?
TSF Jazz was first, and Daniel asked me actually, because we never talked about it, but straight after my studies, I went to TSF Jazz. That's the only thing I know, jazz. And so for like 8 years, I was the host of a show from 8 p.m. to midnight, and the thing was to go out and broadcast live music, live shows in big venues, in festivals, in jazz clubs. We had the chance to travel a bit. So did that for quite a years, and now for like 5 years, I started booking for the Duc des Lombards, which is like the biggest, the most famous jazz club in Paris. And we launched new nights because, you know, on a Monday, on a Tuesday, people don't quite go out, not that much. And so we launched what we call Nouvelle Scène, which means new scene in English. And it's Monday and Tuesdays, and it's free entrance nights focused on the new generation. So it's like young, mostly Parisian artists. It was until, you know.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And so, yeah, booking young guys from, 20, 25 years old, young projects with no album, and yeah, just give them the best stage possible for jazz music.
So this is a question to all of you. It's Seb, you just described that Duc des Lombards, which is one of the most known and most famous jazz club in Paris, does every week at least 2 nights where a new scene is able to introduce themselves, and it is possible to get to a good stage and a famous stage in an earlier career, part of an artist's career as well. Is that typical to France? So we are gonna try to approach the question of how does a DIY artist in a subgenre like jazz, like new jazz, or punk rock, or anything in between, let's say, how many artists in the room? How many artist representatives? There's a very good artist there. Yes. Okay. So how do they get started? Do they? Obviously, everyone starts in their own market generally, and that's being Hungary and Eastern Europe. But here's an Eastern European artist, and what's the difference? Okay, if you're a French artist and your chance is in France, obviously C&M is the export office is giving a lot of help. What happens if I'm a punk rock artist and I say, okay, I've done a few shows maybe in Germany, in the Netherlands, let's look at France. I know it's a subgenre. How do I find someone that I can talk to, and how do I find a show in France?
So first, it's very hard. Secondly, I would recommend, because I think France is a big enough country with many cities, with lots of people in each cities. We are like 70 million people living there, and so there is definitely a possibility to tour there for at least a week, few days, weekends and stuff. Now the question is, what is expected of the band to tour there? Of course, without any local business help, such as label, publisher, distributor, PR, you have to go DIY, what we call DIY, and that's no matter what genre of music. So my recommendation is that, first of all, try to find similarities and similar bands as the ones that you own. Try to look for similar bands, contact them through internet, and just say, hey, we like your music. I know you are from Bordeaux. What do you think? Let's maybe trade a tour. That's something that is definitely possible. So you propose, I can book you a few shows in Eastern Europe. Can you do the same in France? Yes, no. And that, throughout many months and years, you're going to start to become part of a scene. Therefore, that scene, you're going to be able to play the shows and grow an audience. And in the meantime, with the power of social media, you can definitely be better known in any country, because social media is like borderless. So that's what I would suggest as a very, very beginner point of view.
JC, what does the bands that you represent today? How did they get started?
That's a tough one. I totally agree with Daniel. Definitely. The thing is, each band came from somewhere, and the somewhere is the DIY, the basement, the crowded, tiny venues, like almost all of them. So basically, the thing is, what you're looking for. I totally agree with you. What you're looking for by Beyond Tour with your kind of music. So the DIY is very important because this is the first seed on the ground, and you need it, definitely. So, but the name should be in heavy rotation in each cities. So have you ever heard about this band? Have you ever heard about this band? And one time, two times, three times. And as a booking agent, I'm like, okay, so 3 guys talk to me about this band. I have to take a look on it because they smash the stage, each shows 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Okay, so I have to pay attention to it. Even if it's a DIY band, even if it's like come from Hungary, Sevilla, London, or Berlin. So, okay, so 3 people told me about them. Okay, I have to take a look on it. So it's a mix of the DIY and also do your job, which means even if it's only 10, 12, 20 people in front of you, you have to kick ass on stage, read up the stage, smash it, and having good track. And then we can have a talk. This is how I work.
Okay, is that the bands that you start looking at? Do they have to have like a management, or do you go to a band with like nothing behind them, just that 3, 4, 5 person band? Do you talk to a band like that?
Yes and no. It depends. Each story with an artist is different, so it's not like a formula. I guess at the early stages of a band, usually there's no manager because there's no money, or it's like the friends guy who's doing management. But in my opinion, I don't really care. Like, of course, if there is a bigger entourage, it's easier to push the band a bit upwards. But it's not necessary. It depends. Like if you're a rock band and you're doing it in rock clubs, management is not that relevant. On the other side, if you are a pop artist, of course, a manager is important because it's different story, you know. But I don't restrain myself. The only thing is that at some point when we decide to work together, I need to have. There's need to be a solid basis of work because I'm gonna take a cut of each fee. That means that it has to be big enough for me to take and for the band to have enough money. You know, I'm not gonna take 10% of €1,000. That's stupid. You know.
Okay, that makes sense. So we need to say that when a band starts off in any market, but Friends especially, that's not typical that they would be able to work with an agent like yourselves, but it's the DIY approach. So that's step number 1, right?
Yeah, and I think it's important for a band or an artist to know how the business goes before signing with any professional.
And that's why thanks for coming to Bush. Okay. Seb, I met you last January when one of the bands that I work with were one of those bands that coming from the new scene on a Monday. And what I've seen that you guys do 3 sets the night, so 3 times 45 minutes, and the audience can change, but you're not sending away the guests. I saw that there was a huge line, and I've driven by the club before when we were in there, and I saw a line. So what's the promotion strategy? Because you have on Mondays and Tuesdays, bands that maybe not that known, and still people would line up and to see them. What's behind this?
I think we just like created a rendezvous. Like people know that on Monday and Tuesday at the Duc des Lombards, it's free good music. So some people just come at the club, do the first set, and then go home and have dinner. And so they got used to it. And on top of the good music that we have. So it was harder in the beginning. It was only Mondays actually in the beginning. And it was working so well that we were like, yeah. And now it represents like a third of the programmation. It's quite huge. So, and it's funny you talk about, go to see guys in small venues and so I'm the guy booking the unknown bands and I go to a wine bar to see some sax player having a shitty gig for like $20 and that's what I do. I do this 2 or 3 times a week to find those little guys and then bring them to the Duc and then they can see professionals like Daniel because they ask me, well, who should I invite? And then you could make some calls, you write to these guys, just, hey, you should check him out. And that's what happened with Jazz Boys, actually.
This was going to be my first question. How do you find? But you also work in the biggest jazz radio of France. Yeah. So you find the artist by the radio, or you just said you go 2-3 nights out to just look at a musician who you would invite?
Now I'm invited to like 2 or 3 shows a night, so I can't go to all of them, and I have to be at the club I work for too. But yeah, I'm invited. Just somebody gave me your number. Come check me out. I'm a friend of na. And that's how it works. And sometimes when you get this small extract or a YouTube video in seconds, you know that it's gonna be great. So you're going to the show and you see the live. You have to see the live. I can't book a band without even if it's on YouTube. But send me a 40-minute video of your shows.
You haven't seen Jazz Boys live?
Yes, because it was not possible.
Okay.
There were no video. I mean,
but generally, you do want to see the bands live if it's possible.
And because they live in Paris, so it's like, it's mostly Parisian bands that we do, or people living in Paris.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. We did a program together called Paris Budapest Connection. And under this program, we sent 3 Hungarian bands with Seb's approval and choice. And they were able to perform on one of those Mondays or Tuesdays in Duc. And this happened a month ago or 2.
In September, yeah.
How was it?
It was really cool. I went to all the shows, of course, and it was funny to see a different community, a different audience. People, Hungarian people coming, because it was like Hungarian artists and they don't get the chance to see this type of band. And I linked with a Hungarian sax player who was living in Paris. I've never heard of him. He came to the show, now we're in touch. He sent me his music, he might play at the Duc. And it just,
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, and I met some people at the Cultural Embassy too in the Hungarian Institute in Paris because, they are doing some stuff with our club. So it opens doors, and it was one of the first kind of exchange that we did with another country.
I'm so glad we did that. Do you guys still do the shows in the radio, or?
When we've been doing that for like 3 or 4 years now. We are changing the formula, but when we like the bands, we invite them at the club and then invite them at the radio. And so we do a show, record 2 live tunes, filmed, and then it's broadcasted on the radio. So we can provide like this whole package when we really like an artist. And we did that with your 3 bands.
Well, thank you. I guess that means that you wouldn't be offended if some people would send you an email with like a few links of a band to maybe check out next time they're in Paris and play a show. Yeah, I love it. You said that you did 8 years of in the radio of record or broadcasting live shows.
Broadcast, yes. It was like 3 broadcasts a week almost.
So that's where you kind of like get into the scene and started to know what band works where.
Yeah, and also to understand what those guys were doing, because we were broadcasting like American artists from all over the world. So you get in touch with bookers, with agents, with PR, and you got to know a bit, you know, what was behind just the band or the artist. And it has been really important to meet this guy in person.
Daniel, the first time we met was last summer, and I have a favorite band. It's called Wolfpack, and one of the favorite bands I have out of the 150. And you guys work with Wolfpack for France, correct? And we've met there, and then accidentally at Eurosonic. Which one is the band that you are the most proud of that you are working, or you like to work? You would like to work the best with them?
It depends, because Wolfpack, of course, it's an amazing band, and working with them means that we have the chance to see them many times. That's good, but I like to work with small bands. I don't know why, but I like to start with small bands or artists. I like the involvement it means. I like to be in France. We're not like booking agents. We are producers, which means that with French artists we produce the tour, and it's something it's a bit hard to understand for people abroad. But I'm not going to get into it because it's very technical. But we produce the shows, which means that we are very much involved in the production and the strategy and the networking and presenting, and so it's a bit more than just booking shows. And that's what I like. I like to talk with the artist about what is the idea, the strategy, and basically not becoming friends, because I think it's important to have a separation between the artist and the people who are working with. But yeah, not a manager as well, but something in between.
So you're basically promoting the shows.
We are promoting and booking and producing.
Is that the same at 3C?
Yes, absolutely. So in 3C actually, so we book shows in France, and you know it could be also in Belgium and Switzerland. But also we promote in Paris, but we also promote in Bordeaux, in Rennes, in Lyon, in Nantes. I mean, we can produce every band everywhere in France. Yeah, because we have a very nice market part also, promoting part also, and because it's important to do both actually. For some people, it could be a bit weird to produce booking and also promoting, especially in UK, actually. But in France, it's totally normal, actually.
That
Yes.
sounds awesome, actually, because then there's like one person that you're going to instead of having a booker and then, okay, what I did? Oh, I just booked the show. So who's promoting? Oh, this is the promoter. So it is a lot of people in between the show or the venue and the band. And in this case, it's basically 2 in 1, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, and it means that there is a bigger connection with the artist as well. It's not we are not just a random email. You know, we are people who come and see and have a night. We have a say in the show. I think it's important. I like to give my advice. I like to have a word on maybe answer the set list or the lightings, or if she needs or he needs, I don't know, like a special outfit. You know, I like to be involved in that and be part of the creation and the production.
Have you ever had any Eastern European band on the roster of the company?
Never.
I have one.
Okay.
Yeah, a band called Bates from Vienna, actually.
Okay. Well, almost Eastern Europe. Like.
Almost system.
Okay. What's the craziest way that you found a band that you ended up working with?
I think I reached a band on Instagram and was like, hey, we never know. And a week after, I started to book them in France. I just reached them on Instagram and I was like, oh, I love your music. I follow you for like 10 years now. And now I'm finally a booking agent. I just reached them. It's a Japanese band, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a math rock and jazz band actually called Mouse on the Keys. I read them on Instagram, and then let's go, let's do it. And I started to book them. Yeah, just like this.
So okay, we've talked about DIY and first steps to be able to introduce yourself in the French market. And let's say a band has done that, did 5 shows in basements and maybe got like catering and hotel, but not really a fee. What's the next step then? Would you focus on getting a French label, or would you focus on finding booking?
Honestly, label, PR, according to me, is not necessarily, to be honest. Really. Because I swear God, I mean, honestly, if you know the band, if you saw them and they smash the stage, you know you can do something in French, do it. Without a PR, without a label, we don't mind. All you need is have just good connection with some venues booker, festival bookers. Try to pitch the band and why you're working with the band. That's very important. Say, why are you working with? I mean, it's very important. The storytelling is nice, the track is nice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's fine, but why you're working with? And for example, so we are really lucky in France to have a lot of festivals, open festivals, inclusive festivals also, and who do love, book newcomers from out of France. If you know them a little bit and explain them, okay, I'll reach you by email because I would like to propose you this band and this is why. And honestly, if you have a good connection with the booker, it could work out, definitely.
But if you don't, then you should just find the bands that are alike what you do and try to get through them, because they may have like only 3,000 people following them on social media, but that's 3,000 type of people who like the sound what you are doing.
Funny story. 2 weeks ago, I've been to South Korea and I saw a band called Hollow Down. It's a screamo post-hardcore band like Envy. I'm a huge fan of this band, Envy. Well, anyway, and honestly, and that smashed the stage. And I was with 2 bookers in France, Mathieu Dufaux and Pierre Poli from Motor Culture Festival, one of the second biggest festival in France of metal. We saw this band. The band Hollow John got maybe 1,200 followers on Instagram, but the music was awesome. The stage was, they were brilliant. They started guising me. The 2 bookers said, okay, if you sign them, deal with the festivals. I was like, okay, why not? It's
That's an easy find then.
For example, so it depends, actually, to be honest. And it depends with what kind of venues and festival you work with also. So you have to make the difference.
We had a chat yesterday when you guys arrived, and there was a big argument about this PR or not PR. And Daniel, you said you have to have PR, and Seb, you also said that. So let's say we're talking about the band with 30,000 monthly listener on Spotify, not necessarily from France, and maybe 5,000 Instagram follower. So it's something already, but it's not gigantic. So does that band, is it worth to invest without having anything in this market? So let's say I want to play in France, but I have 0 shows in France so far. Should I pay a PR company? Because we artists constantly get messages from PR companies that, we love your music, we want to offer you something. And it ends up saying that, okay, yes, we love your music, it's going to be a few thousand euros, and then we'll see what happens. And nothing happens. But is it worth for a small band to pay a few thousand euros to get press? Because I'm sorry, I'm going to let you talk as well, but according to my experience, if it's a band that no one knows, no matter what the PR company does, gets like a really good article about their album on a music blog, it's like there's so much information all over us, like that people just don't click on it because they don't know what it is, and they will click on names that they heard, that they're familiar with. That's what gets attention. So is it still worth investing?
I think yes. I think it's basically, well, the story is like, why do you want to come to France? That's the first question. Why that market? Why would you spend money and time to play there? Is it because you like the country?
Big market.
I would say come as a holiday. You know what I mean? No, I'm being a bit harsh, but France is a very strong market. It's a big market, but it's a self-sufficient market. So the majority of the people who listen to music in France, they listen to French music. If you look at the top 10, 20 Spotify, it's mostly French artists. And it's always been like that. And even within the French market, there's not enough space for the amount of French artists who try to make it. So how do you get your way into that, you know? So I think that doing the DIY thing that we talked about earlier, like connecting with a similar bands, trying to swap tours, create some little fan base is very important at the beginning. And after that, the next step is like, do you feel that there is something that when you play in France, you have a growth in audience on your data, on your and the shows, and yes, at that moment maybe it's the right time to invest, you know, and to in my opinion, a PR is more important than a label or a publisher at the early stages, because the PR is going to be able to put some more visibility on the band, and therefore when you're going to play Paris, this PR is going to put you in touch with a label, with a publisher, distributor, and this is where you're going to start working your way around. But I think it's important at some point to invest in. I know it's not very artistic, but if you consider yourself as a small enterprise, every time you want to go to a new market, you have to invest. That works for every type of project.
And actually now, these days, I have PR writing me like, I have this album, they're looking for a place for an album release. Would you do it at the Duc des Lombards? And it's happening more and more because the emails of in jazz, we don't have like 1,000 PR. I mean, you've got maybe 20 something, and you know them all. But so you open their emails, you open the CDs they send you because you know them, you trust them. And I think, again, for jazz, the jazz audience is not on Instagram that much. I mean, they are mostly like, 55 years old people, and they listen to France Inter, the big radios, they read the newspaper, and it's a thing. And that's how they hear about an artist more than on a TikTok. And also regarding the PR, at some point it's cool. It's the vibe that you give. Are you a loner trying to do your thing, or are you getting professional with a PR, with a team behind you? And that's something, when you talk to someone and then it's like, yeah, you can see that with my PR. It's like you get to that stage where you want to get bigger, and it's a message, I think, that you send to the people you're working with.
JC, you were going to say?
Yes, I will just shade a little bit because I a bit agree with you, but not totally, and I will explain you why. Because I will talk to you with two bands. The first band is a Belgian band called La Jungle, and the second is a French band called Bruit. The first one, La Jungle, it's a two-pieces band. It's a two-pieces band with a bass player and a drummer. It's very noisy, like noisy, definitely. But it's funny. It's a bit disco in the same time. They spread a lot of positive vibes, and you can dance a bit. On records, it's terrible, but a lot of people love them because on stage, on live, it's awesome. Brilliant guys. I mean, a lot of people enjoy this moment, drinking a lot of beers, hanging out with each other, because it's a perfect combination of noise and also something funny to dance with, for example. And on record, it's tough. And the second is Brie. It's a post-rock band from Toulouse, and you can't listen them on Spotify. You can't listen them on Apple Music. You can listen them on Amazon, whatever. The only platform you can listen to them is on Bandcamp. Or you have to buy the vinyl. That's it. And I think it was a month ago, the Soda of the Maroquinerie, which is a 500 capacities in Paris. And the guys come from Toulouse. And now they are on tour with artists, metal bands and shoegaze bands, for example. So and the PR did a bit the job, but actually a lot of people know them because the music is good. That's the base. The tracks are good. And the DA, the artistic direction, are awesome. It's brilliant. So according to me, if you have maybe both good tracks on the records, it sounds good. You have a good artistic direction. You can do a lot of things, a lot. The PR is nice, I totally agree. But honestly, tracks first. And then maybe a label, maybe a PR, and blah, blah, blah. That's my own opinion.
I agree with you. A good song is always the best.
Of course, yeah. So all you need to do is just write a good song, okay?
Because we're talking about artistic. I totally agree, but music first. Making good track, have a good artistic direction, and then maybe a lot of good things could happen, to be honest.
I have a last quite concrete question. This is a personal example. I have a more of a world music focused band that on the roster of my company, and we got invited to a big French festival in Bretagne. It's called Bout du Monde. It's, I don't want to say something. I think it's about 30,000 cap. It's a big festival, but only a few stages, and they go around. And we got booked to a smaller stage that was a 5,000 capacity stage, and the band played 2 times, once earlier in the evening and once around midnight. So 2 times 5,000 people. And obviously this band that I'm talking about is from Budapest, Hungary. It's a 7-piece. They jump up and down and they shout, and there's trumpet and guitar and drums and crazy and fun. And that worked because people never heard this band before, but people heard this music before, so they were familiar with it. And there was a huge success. And then we left and received around 4 or 5 different offers for much smaller festivals, but all in different in time. And obviously, Hungary and France is not very close. So we tried, but we weren't able to do any of them because of the date and because of the size of the fee. And the size of the fee was absolutely fair if you are from there, but if you come from Hungary with a 7-piece band, that's impossible. Where did I make the mistake? Should I have done right after Budapest and the local journalists did video report on the band and everything? Should I have invested all of that fee into PR and maybe or what is there to do to be able to return? Because there's a big success, 5,000 people twice, and then you can't return.
I don't have the formula, of course, because if not, I would be the master of the music. But now it's a tough question. It's festivals, for example, it's a tricky one. Bout du Monde is a very famous festival. It's been around for 40 years or 30 years, and it's very good. And the artistic direction is very precise. Especially in Brittany, they have shitloads of festivals. And this one is very famous. And so people go to this festival because of the festival, no matter what artists are playing, because it's been around, the families come, and they know what type of music, which is mostly global music. That saying, does the 2 times 5,000 people enjoyed the band or enjoyed the show? You see the difference?
Yes.
That's the big question. I don't have the answer, of course. So from that success, would you agree to spend your money to put? If you have that money, why not? But it may be a loss. I don't know,
It's risk, okay.
It's a risk. It's a risk you have to take. I would say that, as I said earlier, of course, if the tracks are good, that's the good starting point of a career. But at some point, I think to be able to rise above the enormous amount of artists that are coming out every day on every social media, everywhere, to have a bit of a professional push is always good.
Cool. I think we've used all of our time. So I have to open the floor for questions. Is there any questions? And please feel brave to ask your question. Yes, please.
So, I totally agree. I think PR is a great investment, and most people don't understand because they want to think, what are my results? But there are deeper results. Sometimes people think, should I put this money in PR or marketing instead? How could you answer this question? It's not simple.
It's better to put in a good marketing than an average PR, or a good PR or an average marketing.
These guys might think otherwise. I'm curious what you guys think. I think you make an amazing point.
Thank you.
As you know, as a media, as a radio, I'm only talking to the PR. I'm not talking to the marketing team or whatever. But
That answer is everything for us.
but for regarding the concert, the main thing is, am I going to sell tickets or not? So I think if you did a good PR, you were live on the most listened to morning show of the radio in France on France Inter, and there is a show tonight. I'm pretty sure you're gonna sell more tickets. I mean, it happens that way too. But I think labels are more focused on the marketing, and I think when you're like a loner with a PR, it's two different things. But as a media, yeah, PR, of course, that's what they're here for. But for a concert, might be different.
Okay, and I have a question for you. Is that because, what do you want? Do you want to spread your name in the French market, or do you want to sell tickets?
Yeah,
See?
because people, sometimes some artists, they just come, they do promotion, like a week of promotion, do all the radios and TV shows and everything, and they come back 6 months after for the shows, or maybe a year after. Yeah.
Once 12 months.
It depends. So this is why I actually. So what you're looking for? Do you want to have a name on the country, like, so it means like a media, press, or whatever, every rotation on, I don't know, on the radio, or do you want to sell tickets? According to me, this is not the same thing. So maybe PR. It depends.
I would say that investing, it doesn't mean essentially money, because a band touring constantly in a country, doing DIY, it's investing, you know? It's investing time, it's investing wealth.
An example, I promote shows here, and I have bands that come here third, fourth, fifth time. The numbers don't change. They don't invest anything. So, and I have bands that they grow exponentially from 50 tickets to 500 tickets in 2 years. And I have bands 30 tickets to 50 tickets in 3 years.
There's not, I think it,
You know what I mean?
It's just the nature of...
I think, like, to be a bit more precise on your question, I think the first idea is to know your audience. Depending on which, if your band is going towards, I don't know, a certain type of population that goes into that type of venues, that listens to that radios or buy these press, it's going to be a different strategy than someone who's, I don't know, maybe targeting 50-year-old plus white men.
I'm gonna have to intervene here, I'm sorry. We went already quite a few minutes over, and there is an amazing reception outside. I don't know if it's amazing, but it's a reception. It should be amazing. Courtesy of our Bulgarian friends. So thank you, all of you, for coming.
Thanks.
Enjoy the shows tonight, and I saw you enjoyed the shows yesterday. Thank you. And please come back to Hungary, and please come back to Bush next time. Thank you guys for coming. We're gonna have the reception. Then we have shows tonight in Aquarium and in Gödör Club, which is an easy 10-minute walk from here. And tomorrow we continue from noon here. And I remember all of your faces, and I would like to see you tomorrow as well. And then if you come tomorrow, then you'll get to come to a boat trip with all of us at 2 p.m. So that's what's awaiting for you on the 10th anniversary Bush. Enjoy. Thank you again, all of you.
Merci beaucoup.